emerge from the back alleys of organized crime. They came to be known as Murder Incorporated.
Who was Frank Abbandando, the hitman for Murder Inc. that killed 30 people? Frank Abbandando, nicknamed the Dasher, was a New York City contract killer and mobster who committed many murders as part of the infamous Murder Inc. gang. His preferred killing method was to stab his victims through the heart with an ice pick. After a trial and conviction for murder in Brooklyn loan shark, he was executed in an electric chair at the Sing Sing on February 19, 1942. Abbandando's parents immigrated from Avellino, Italy to New York City. He was born in New York on July 11, 1910. Abbandando was one of 12 children whose 6 did not survive childhood. Abbandando began as a teenager extorting money from shop owners by threatening to torch their shops. By his 20s he had joined the street gang in the Ocean Hill section of Brooklyn, where he quickly became a lieutenant of Harry Happy Marion. Abbandando organized gambling, loan sharking and extortion rackets for the gang, as well as committing murders. In 1928, Abbandando was convicted of beating a New York police officer and was sent to reform school in Alameda, New York, where he demonstrated skill at baseball and received the nickname the Dasher. In the early 1930s, New York 5 families began using gangs to commit their murders. This was because they had reformed their operating structures following the vicious, high-profile Castelmarese War, which he had made front page news for its brutality. With the new peace, the mob now wanted to keep low public profile by using contract killers. The 5 families were better protected from public and law enforcement scrutiny. These killers were led by Louis Lepke Buchalter, the young leader of the Jewish gang known as the Gorilla Boys. With the growth in racketeering, Buchalter's small, informal network of killers grew into a group of 250 criminals who were also involved in narcotics, labor unions and other racket, such as gambling and prostitution. Buchalter called his group the Combination, but the New York press labeled it Murder Inc. Unlike the 5 families, which required members to be the Sicilian or Southern Italian ancestry, Murder Inc. was the first ethnic gang that included Jews, Italians and Irish killers. Abbandando had become associated with Murder Inc. in the 1920s. By the early 1930s, he was reputed to have killed at least 30 people, mostly in Brooklyn, for a payment of about $500 per murder. In September 1931, Abbandando helped Buchalter and gang members Abe Relays eliminate Shapiro Brothers, a rifle outfit from the Lower East Side of Manhattan, controlled the garment industry in Brooklyn. In 1937, Abbandando assisted in the murder of George Rudnick, a loan shark in Brooklyn. Relays had ordered Rudnick's murder because he had received information that Rudnick was a police informant, using an ice pick and a meat cleaver. Abbandando and several other gang members strangled Rudnick and stabbed him 63 times and crushed his head inside the garage. No one was arrested for this crime. By the 1940s, Murder Inc. was several weekends after the arrest and convictions of its leader like Buchalter. Its downfall began in the 1940s when Abe Relays turned state witness after being indicted for murder. His testimonies against fellow Murder Inc. members soon led to the arrest of Abbandando for the murder of George Rudnick in 1937. In May 1940, Abbandando was put on a trial for murder along with co-defendants Harry Happy Marion and Harry Pittsburgh Phil Strauss. Abbandando was so confident that his allies would succeed in fixing the verdict, he even whispered a threat into the judge's ear while he was on the witness stand. However, to his surprise, they were all convicted of Rudnick's murder, but the verdicts were overturned on appeal. In April 1941, Abbandando, along with Marion, Strauss had been convicted in September 1940 of killing Jewish mobster Irving Feinstein in 1939. Went on a trial for a second time. This time he was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. Abbandando spent the next 9 months in Sing Sing prison, Ossining, New York. On February 19, 1942, he was executed using Old Sparky, the electric chair at Sing Sing.